Welcome to another episode of Q in Charge. Well, hello. Hello, new voice here, right? Well, I'm your new co-host, Joe, a newcomer to this exciting tech podcast, and I hope you like it as I do. So now, besides Frankie, you got me in your corner to bring some more exciting topics and news.
Welcome, Joe. It is a tremendous pleasure to introduce you to the world and our listeners.
Thank you for having me, but let's not keep our listeners any longer to our new, and for me, the first episode to host. And with whom better than you? Well, today we dive into a controversial topic that has been making headlines, the allocation of tax incentives and subsidies for foreign companies. This episode topic was triggered by my reading an article the other day about foreign investment and tax incentives, the case of Gotion and Illinois. Oh, so in this episode, we'll be discussing the recent case of Illinois and the Chinese company Gotion. The state of Illinois recently handed out an eye-popping $536 million in tax credits and incentives to lure Gotion, a battery firm, into the state, promising 2,600 new jobs. But is this a good deal for taxpayers? And should we be concerned about Gotion's ties to the Chinese Communist Party and allegations of technology theft? Join us as we break down this story. Look at the implications for U.S. national security and explore the broader implications of such foreign investments. To set the stage, let's first delve into the specifics of the Gotion deal. In September, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker announced a massive $2 billion factory investment by Gotion, a Chinese battery manufacturer in Illinois. This deal came with a staggering $536 million in tax credits and incentives, and it was celebrated as a significant win for the state. I'm delighted to have Frankie here with me for this topic. A knowledgeable person in foreign investments and economic policies with us today, and also my co-host, whom you all know very well. So, Frankie, could you shed some light on the motivation behind Illinois' decision to offer such a substantial incentive to Gotion, in your opinion, and based on the article we read?
Certainly, Joe. But first, to welcome you again to our show, and we hope with our forces of wisdom and youth, we can bring more diversity to our podcast. Well, as of the article that you mentioned, it's clear that Illinois was eager to attract Gotion and the promise of 2,600 green jobs. However, this deal raises concerns due to Gotion's ties to the Chinese Communist Party and its alleged involvement in technology theft and espionage.
Yes, indeed, and those concerns have prompted lawmakers to question the decision in a letter to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, and Representative Mike Gallagher and John Moulin expressed their concerns about Gotion's affiliations and activities.
The Gotion deal in Illinois isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a broader pattern where states are offering incentives to foreign companies, including those from China. But what are the potential risks and rewards of such deals? You know what I mean?
Well, we're fortunate to have you with us today to be able to elaborate on international trade and foreign policy to help us understand this. So what do we need to consider when offering tax incentives to foreign companies?
Well, Joe, there are certainly economic benefits in terms of job creation and economic growth. However, we must carefully weigh these gains against national security concerns and the potential transfer of technology and intellectual property to foreign entities. This brings us to the case of Gotion. The company has raised alarms due to its links to the Chinese Communist Party, which has been known for its aggressive stance on technological advancements and intellectual property acquisition. Let us elaborate a bit on Gotion. Gotion is a Chinese company that has attracted attention and raised concerns due to its perceived connections with the Chinese Communist Party, or short CCP. The CCP has a significant influence in China, and it plays a substantial role in shaping the country's policies, including those related to technological advancements and intellectual property. Here are some key points to consider. CCP, influence on Chinese corporations. In China, many companies have close ties with the CCP, which means that the government can influence their operations and strategic decisions. State-owned enterprises, in particular, often have direct CCP involvement at various levels. Technological advancements. The CCP has consistently emphasized the importance of technological advancements and innovation in its economic and industrial policies. China has been investing heavily in research and development, emerging as a global leader in areas like 5G technology, artificial intelligence, and renewable energy. Intellectual property concerns. China has faced accusations of intellectual property theft and forced technology transfers, particularly in the context of its engagement with foreign companies. Concerns have been raised about whether companies like Gotion, with alleged links to the CCP, might be involved in or exposed to such activities. National security implications. The concerns about CCP-linked companies go beyond economic considerations. Some nations, particularly the United States, have raised national security concerns, fearing that Chinese companies could be used for espionage or other activities detrimental to their interests.
So what are the alternatives for states when it comes to foreign investments? Let's take a look at some contrasting examples. Or let me rephrase this question. What about this next segment of our conversation? Could you provide us with an example of a state that approached a similar situation differently?
Absolutely. In January 2023, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin declined a deal involving a Chinese battery maker due to concerns about national security. He referred to it as a Trojan horse for Beijing. This decision underscores the importance of considering the national security aspect of such investments. Is that good as an example?
Certainly. Man, you are on the spot. As we wrap up this episode, it's clear that foreign investments and the allocation of tax incentives to foreign companies are complex issues that require a delicate balancing act. The case of Gotion in Illinois highlights the importance of thoroughly assessing the potential risks and rewards before making such deals.
Totally agree, Joe.
We should also note that while these investments can boost the local economies and create jobs, they also have the potential to jeopardize national security and technological advantages. It's essential for policymakers to carefully consider the long-term consequences of such decisions. Well, Frankie, thank you for being today my first guest and for talking about this topic, and I hope we join our forces in the future more often.
For sure, and anytime. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us today on Q in Charge. We hope this episode has shed light on the challenges and considerations surrounding foreign investments and tax incentives. Stay tuned for more thought-provoking discussions on current events and issues in our future episodes. And do not forget to like us, share us, and subscribe to us for more. Until next time.